Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters, and welcome to our Shabbat Bible study. Today, we are going over Shemoth, which is Exodus, chapters 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so go ahead and grab your Bibles, and we will get started tonight. Welcome to everybody. I hope that you're bringing your families to study with us. This is family friendly, and everybody in your family should be studying along with us so they can learn the Word of Yahweh, His Word. Okay? Alright, let's get started tonight. Shemoth, which is Exodus chapter 10. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Go in to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart, and the hearts of his servants, so that I show these signs of mine before him. And that you relate in the hearing of your son, and your son's sons, what I have done in Mitzrayim, and my signs which I have done among them, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. And Moshe and Aaron came in to Pharaoh and said to him, Thus said Yahweh Elohim of the Hebrews, Till when shall you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go, so that they serve me. Or else, if you refuse to let my people go, see, tomorrow I am bringing locusts within your borders, and they shall cover the surface of the land, so that no one is able to see the land. And they shall eat the rest of what has escaped, which remains to you from the hail. And they shall eat every tree which grows up for you out of the field. And they shall fill your houses, and the houses of your servants, and the houses of all the Mitzrayites, which neither your fathers nor your fathers' fathers have seen, since the day that they were on the earth to this day. Then he returned and went out from Pharaoh. And Pharaoh's servants said to him, Till when would this one be a snare to us? Let the men go, so that they serve Yahweh their Elohim. Do you not yet know that Mitzrayim is destroyed? All the other plagues, the blood in the water, the dead fish that are stinking everything up, the dead frogs that are stinking everything up, the gnats, the flies, the boils, and now locusts. Oh yeah, don't forget the hail that just ripped everything to pieces. Now locusts. Verse 8, And Moshe and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh, and he said to them, Go, serve Yahweh your Elohim, who are the ones that are going. And Moshe said, We are going with our young and our old, with our sons and our daughters, with our flocks and our herds we are going, for we have a festival to Yahweh. And he said to them, Let Yahweh be with you, as I let you and your little ones go. Watch, for evil is before your face. Warning him. Not so. You men go now and serve Yahweh, for that is what you desired. And they were driven out from the presence of Pharaoh. So Pharaoh said, No, just the men are going. Now get out. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Stretch out your hand over the land of Mitzrayim, for the locusts to come upon the land of Mitzrayim, and eat every plant of the land, all that the hail has left. And Moshe stretched out his rod over the land of Mitzrayim, and Yahweh brought an east wind on the land all that day and all that night. Morning came, and the east wind brought the locusts. And the locusts went up over all the land of Mitzrayim, and settled within all the borders of Mitzrayim, very grievous. There had never been locusts like them before, nor would there again be like them. And they covered the surface of all the land, so that the land was darkened. And they ate every plant of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. And no greenness was left on the trees or on the plants of the field in all the land of Mitzrayim. Pharaoh then called for Moshe and Aaron in haste and said, I have sinned against Yahweh your Elohim and against you. And now, please forgive my sin only this once. Yeah. And pray to Yahweh your Elohim that he would only turn away this death from me. And he went out from Pharaoh and prayed to Yahweh. And Yahweh turned a very strong wind, west wind, which took the locusts away and blew them into the sea of reeds. Not one locust was left within all the borders of Mizraim. However, Yahweh strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not let the children of Israel go. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Stretch out your hand toward the heavens, and let there be darkness over the land of Mizraim, even a darkness which is felt. That's dark. It's so dark that you can feel it. Wow. Verse 22, And Moshe stretched out his hand toward the heavens, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Mizraim for 3 days. Okay, there's that 3 days again. How long was Yehoshua in the grave? Verse 23, They did not see one another, nor did anyone rise from his place for 3 days, while all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called to Moshe and said, Go, serve Yahweh. Only leave your flocks and your herds behind. Let your little ones go with you too. But Moshe said, You yourself are to provide us with slaughterings and ascending offerings, to prepare for Yahweh our Elohim. Slaughterings, offerings. They were following Torah. Okay, the law. They're following because they are doing blood sacrifices. Excuse me. They're doing blood sacrifices for the atonement of sins. When Yehoshua gave himself freely as the perfect sacrifice, it was for the atonement, the blood atonement of our sins, to pave a road for our redemption. Okay? So the blood offering is a covenant for the redemption of sin. Okay? Verse 26, And our livestock are to go with us too. Not a hoof is to be left behind. For we have to take some of them to serve Yahweh our Elohim. And we ourselves do not know with what we are to serve Yahweh until we come there. However, Yahweh strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he would not let them go. And Pharaoh said to him, Get away from me, watch yourself, and see my face no more, for in the day you see my face, you die. So Pharaoh 86'd him, threw him out, told him, If you see me again, I'm going to kill you. 29, And Moshe said, You have spoken rightly. Never again do I see your face. Chapter 11. And Yahweh said to Moshe, I am bringing yet one more plague on Pharaoh and on Mitzrayim. After that, he is going to let you go from here. When he lets you go, he shall drive you out from here altogether. He's going to 86 you from the country. You're out of here. Verse 2, Speak now in the hearing of the people, and let every man ask from his neighbor, and every woman from her neighbor, objects of silver and objects of gold. And Yahweh gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrayites. And the man Moshe was very great in the land of Mitzrayim in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants, and in the eyes of the people. Yeah, after all those plagues, the people are like, Here, take the silver, take the gold, take whatever you want, just get out, all right? Verse 4, And Moshe said, Thus said Yahweh about midnight, I am going out into the land of Mizraim, and all the firstborn in the land of Mizraim shall die, for the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on his throne, even to the firstborn of the female servant who is behind the handmill, and all the firstborn of cattle. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Mizraim, such has never been or ever shall be again. But against any of the children of Israel no dog shall move its tongue against man or against beast, so that you know that Yahweh makes distinction between Mizraim and Israel. And all these servants of yours shall come down to me, and bow down to me, saying, Get out, you and all the people at your feet. And after that I shall go out. And he went out from Pharaoh in great displeasure. But Yahweh said to Moshe, Pharaoh is not going to listen to you, in order to multiply my wonders in the land of Mizraim. And Moshe and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh. However, Yahweh strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not let the children of Israel go out of his land. Chapter 12. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aaron in the land of Mizraim, saying, This new moon is the beginning of new moons for you. It is the first new moon of the year for you. The first new moon of the year is the first day of the first month of the year. Yahweh is setting the calendar. Okay? So, verse 3. Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, On the 10th day of this new moon, each one of them is to take for himself a lamb, according to the house of his father, a lamb for a household. So 10 days after the new moon, they're to take a lamb, okay, for their household. Verse 4, And if the household is too small for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to him take it according to the number of beings, according to each man's need. You make your count for the lamb. If your house is larger than the lamb is going to supply, you need more than one lamb. If it's smaller than what you need, then you share with your neighbor. Okay, you just share one lamb between the two houses. Everything's cool. Verse 5. Let the lamb be a perfect one, a year-old male. Take it from the sheep or from the goats. Okay, so it has to be a year old, and it has to be a male lamb, either goat or sheep, doesn't matter, but it has to be perfect. No smashed up eyes poking out of their head, no 3 legs, no anything, no birth defects whatsoever. It has to be a perfect lamb, a year old. Okay? Verse 6, And you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same new moon. Then all the assembly of the congregation of Israel shall slay it between the evenings. So you get it on the 10th day of the new moon, and on the 14th day at sunset you slaughter it. Okay? The reason that is because the animal has to be void. No food, no nothing to be given to this animal, so that it's completely void. Its stomach does not have anything in it. Okay? Verse 7. And then they shall take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts and on the lintel of the houses where they eat it. Blood sacrifice. Atonement for sin. On the lintels and on the doorposts. Okay? Verse 8, And they shall eat the flesh on that night, roasted in fire, with unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. The bitter herbs is to remind them of the harsh slavery that they are experiencing in Mizraim. Okay? Just a reminder thing. Verse 9, Do not eat it raw, nor boiled at all with water, but roasted in fire, its head with its legs and its inward parts. That's why you have to have the animal void, its stomach completely empty, its intestines completely empty, completely void of all food. because the slaughter includes the head. You split the neck so that you bleed it because there can't be any blood. But it has to have the head, the legs, and the guts inside of it. Okay? Just so we're clear on that, this is Yahweh's commandment. Verse 10, and do not leave of it until morning, and what remains of it until morning you are to burn with fire, because this animal has been set apart by Yahweh. It's been blessed by Yahweh. So because it is blessed, they can't have any leftovers. Anything that's left over the next morning, they've got to burn to ashes. Get rid of it, because it belongs to Yahweh. It is blessed. And it's not blessed by some rabbi. It's blessed by Yahweh. Verse 11, and this is how you eat it. Your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And you shall eat it in haste. It is the Pesach of Yahweh. This is the very first Passover. Pesach. Okay? Just so we're understanding. And the reason that you eat it with your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand is because the children of Israel are on a minute's notice going to bug out. They're going to take off with everything that they've got. Animals, goods, wagons, horses, everything. All the gold and silver that they've gotten from their neighbors. Everything. As soon as Yahweh says, go. It's bug out time. So they should be ready to go at a minute's notice. Okay? Verse 12. And I shall pass through the land of Mizraim on that night, and shall strike all the firstborn in the land of Mizraim, both man and beast, and on all the mighty ones of Mizraim I shall execute judgment. I am Yahweh. And the blood shall be assigned for you on the houses where you are, and when I see the blood I shall pass over you. Passover. And let the plague not come on you to destroy you when I strike the land of Mizraim. And this day shall become to you a remembrance, and you shall celebrate it as a festival to Yahweh throughout your generations. Celebrate it as a festival, an everlasting law. Okay? Not for this week, not for this year, not until Yehoshua comes, forever. The Pesach, the Passover, is to be celebrated forever. Okay? So we all understand that. This is something we should be doing because we are grafted into the tree of life through Ephraim. Alright? Through the atoning blood of Yehoshua, Messiah. We are grafted into the tree. So we should be observing the Passover. Okay? Let's check on this real quick. I've got a reference from Malachi 3:6. Okay, so let's see here. Malachi. Okay, Malachi 3, verse 6. For I am Yahweh, I shall not change, and you, O son of Jacob, shall not come to an end. Okay. So, Yahweh never changes. What he says goes. No matter what he says goes, and it's forever. Unless if he specifies, it is forever. Okay? Alright. Back to Shemoth. Verse 15. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. Okay? This is also a celebration. Okay, observed law of Yahweh. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. Indeed, on the first day you cause leaven to cease from your houses. Sin. Leaven is sin. Okay? For whoever eats leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that being shall be cut off from Israel. And on the first day is a set-apart gathering, and on the seventh day you have a set-apart gathering. Those are high holy days, okay? I know this is hard to follow, but we will make it simple for you as we go on so that you understand these feasts, okay? No work at all is done on them because they're set-apart days. They're like a Sabbath, okay? Only that which is eaten by every being, that alone is prepared by you. So even the meals, you only prepare enough for the people in the house. That's it. Verse 17. And you shall guard the festival of Matzot, which is the festival of unleavened bread. Okay? For on this same day I brought your divisions out of the land of Mizraim, and you shall guard this day throughout your generations, an everlasting law. So we should be observing unleavened bread. Okay? That's another holy day, high holy day. It's actually a week. That we don't eat any leaven, have no leaven in our houses, nothing that has any kind of yeast in it in our house. Everything out. Because leaven is sin. Alright? These are things that we should be observing, because it's forever. Verse 18, in the first month, on the 14th day of the new moon, in the evening, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the new moon in the evening. So 7 days unleavened bread. For 7 days no leaven is to be found in your houses. For if anyone eats what is leavened, the same being shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether sojourner or native of the land. So a sojourner are those that travel with the children of Israel. A sojourner is the Gentiles. We sojourn with the children of Israel, Yahweh's children. Okay, because we've been grafted into the tree through the atoning blood of Yehoshua Messiah. Okay, does that make sense to you? I know, it's kind of confusing because none of us have ever observed any of these festivals. But these are the holidays that we are supposed to be celebrating. Not Christmas, not Easter, not Halloween, not St. Valentine's Day or St. Patrick's Day or any of these heathen holidays. We'll get further into that when we get into Leviticus, okay? Verse 20, do not eat that which is leavened. In all your dwellings you are to eat unleavened bread, like a tortilla or matzah. Verse 21, and Moshe called for all the elders of Israel and said to them, go out and take lambs for yourselves according to your clans, and slay the Pesach. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop, and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the 2 doorposts with the blood that is in the basin. And you, none of you, shall go out of the door of his house until morning. And Yahweh shall pass on to smite the Mitzraites, and shall see the blood on the lintel and on the 2 doorposts. And Yahweh shall pass over the door, and not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. And you shall guard this word as law for you and your sons forever. Period. Forever. Verse 25, and it shall be when you come to the land which Yahweh gives you, as he promised, that you shall guard this service. Okay? My nose is itching like crazy. Verse 26, and it shall be when your children say to you, what does this service mean to you? Then you shall say, it is the Pesach, slaughtering of Yahweh, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Mitzrayim, when he smote the Mitzrayites and delivered our households. And the people bowed their heads and did obeisance. And the children of Israel went away and did so, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe and Aaron, so they did. And it came to be at midnight that Yahweh struck all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sat on his throne, to the firstborn of the captive, who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of livestock. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants, and all the Mitzrayites, and there was a great cry in Mitzrayim, for there was not a house where there was not a dead one. Then he called for Moshe and Aaron by night, and said, Arise, go out from the midst of my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go, serve Yahweh as you have said. Take both your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and go. Then you shall bless me too. And the Mitzrayites were strong on the people, to hasten to send them away out of the land, for they said, We are all dying. Kicking them out. Hurry up and leave. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, having their kneading bowls bound up in their garments on their shoulders. So they didn't even get a chance to leaven the bread. They just grabbed it and went. And the children of Israel had done according to the word of Moshe, and they had asked from the Mitzrayites objects of silver and objects of gold and garments. And Yahweh gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrayites, so that they gave them what they asked, and they plundered the Mitzrayites. And the children of Israel set out from Rames to Succoth, about 600,000 men on foot, beside the little ones. So when you look, that's just the men. 600,000 is just the men. So when you count the children and the women, it's between 5 and 6 million people. Okay, that's a big hunk of population that the Mitzrayites are throwing out. A lot of people. Verse 38, And a mixed multitude went up with them too, also flocks and herds, very much livestock. So a whole bunch of people that were not of the children of Israel, those who sojourn amongst them, took off with them. They were like, we're bugging out too. We're done with all of this. Verse 39, And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough, which they had brought out of Mitzrayim, for it was not leavened, since they were driven out of Mitzrayim, and had not been able to delay, nor had they prepared food for themselves. All right? Look up a recipe for matzah. You can look it up on YouTube. They've got several different recipes for matzah. They're good recipes. Matzah's good if you make it right. You put a little bit of honey in it. It's really good. Unleavened bread. Okay? Verse 40. And the sojourn of the children of Israel who lived in Mitzrayim were 430 years. Okay? Those that sojourned amongst them. And it came to be at the end of 430 years, on that same day, it came to be that all the divisions of Yahweh went out from the land of Mitzrayim. So everybody that was a slave in Mitzrayim for 430 years all left, along with a bunch of other people that were not children of Israel, that sojourned amongst them, Gentiles. Okay? Verse 42. It is a night of watches unto Yahweh for bringing them out of the land of Mizraim. This is that night of watches unto Yahweh for all the children of Israel throughout their generations. Oh man, I got a frog in my throat like crazy. From all these darn fires that are burning all over the place in Canada and everywhere else, the northern winds are blowing them right down into my valley. Yuck. Been like this for weeks. Sorry about that. Verse 43. And Yahweh said to Moshe and Aaron, this is the law of the Pesach. No son of a stranger is to eat of it. Okay, so if you don't belong, then you don't eat of it. If you're not one of those that sojourn with them, if you're just Joe Schmo, and you're not part of the group, you do not eat of the Pesach. Verse 44, But any servant a man has bought for silver, when you have circumcised him, then let him eat of it. So once somebody is part of the group, circumcised, then they are able to participate in the Pesach. Okay? I know this is really a lot to take in. Take it in slow. Alright? 45. A sojourner and a hired servant does not eat of it. Okay, so if you're bought and paid for, if you ain't circumcised, you ain't eating of it. And if you're a sojourner that isn't circumcised, you ain't eating of it. So you got to be circumcised in order to be part of the group. Alright? There again, we know by when Moshe was headed into Egypt and his wife lopped off his son's foreskin and threw it at his feet. Okay? This is important. This is a commandment of Yahweh the Most High. 46. It is eaten in one house. You are not to take any of the flesh outside the house, nor are you to break any bone of it. There was not one bone broken of Yehoshua. They were breaking the other two guys' legs to get them off of the stakes because of the Passover, the high holy day. After the Passover, they couldn't have them up on the stakes. But when they came to Yehoshua, he was already dead. He had given up the ghost. So they did not break his legs, but the centurion stabbed him in the ribs, and a bunch of water and blood came gushing out. Alright, that's why. 47. All the congregation of Israel are to perform it. And when a stranger sojourns with you, and shall perform the Pesach to Yahweh, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and perform it, and he shall be as a native of the land, but let no uncircumcised eat of it. So if you're part of the tribes, you're good. If you ain't part of the tribes, no way Jose, out the door. Okay? Gotta be one in order to participate in the Pesach or in any of the high holy days. Okay? 49. There is one Torah for the native born and for the stranger who sojourns among you. One Torah, one law for anybody that hangs out with the group of the children of Israel and for the children of Israel. But you gotta be circumcised. Okay? 50. And all the children of Israel did as Yahweh commanded Moshe and Aaron, so they did. And it came to be on that same day that Yahweh brought the children of Israel out of the land of Mizraim according to their divisions. Okay? And that's the end of chapter 12. I know I'm going through it at a ridiculous pace. Very slow and very distinctly pointing things out to you. Because our modern churches have totally deceived us on all of this. The Torah is meant for us all. Not until Yehoshua comes, not until next week, it is forever, for all generations. So if you are a believer in Messiah, you are to follow the original covenant. Messiah followed the law perfectly, without blemish. He was a sacrificial lamb without blemish. Okay? That means that he followed the law perfectly. And as we get into it, it is pretty confusing. But if it's something that you start to observe every year, it's going to be as simple to you as putting up a stupid Christmas tree. Okay? And we'll get to all of that later on, because Christmas is not the birth of Messiah. Okay? It just isn't like that. The Catholic Church messed up the calendar. They used the winter solstice, which is a pagan holiday, on December 25th as the birth of Messiah, to blend together the two belief systems. Because when Constantine made up the Catholic Church and was the very first pope, he had to figure out how to bring all of their stupid little G gods and the followings of Messiah together. So they blended in the pagan worship of the winter solstice to being the birth of Messiah. It's a lie. One of many. But I'm not going to press on that right now. I know what we have read this evening is quite a bit to take in. So take it in slowly. You may even reread this a few times so that you understand when is the Pesach. When is the Pesach? How do you know? Two witnesses. The heads on the barley are green, and the barley is green, and it's the first new moon. So the barley's being ready to be harvested at the same time of the first new moon. That's how you mark the first day of the first month of the year. When is that? April. Yeah. The birth of Messiah was in April. And so was the death of Messiah. Same day. Within a day or two of each other. But it's the same day. It is... The death and resurrection of Messiah is not Easter. And rabbits don't lay eggs. When you check into Egyptian, Mitzrayim, who the gods were for those people, Ishtar was one of their gods. Ishtar was a fertility god. That's paganism. And that's what the Catholic Church blended in to the following of Yehoshua. The law. They perverted it. So many things in our world, so many things in our society, throughout our generations. It's not just our generation, it's the generations prior to us. They have lied, they have deceived us since the 4th century AD. Since the 4th century, they've been lying to us. Now it's time for the truth. Time for the truth, because we are in the end times and we need to know the truth. Okay? Bear with me, gang. I know it's a lot, and I know that it goes against all of the things that we have been taught throughout our entire lives. Our parents didn't know. Our grandparents didn't know. They didn't know. So they taught us the same as they had been taught, which is a lie. Complete lie. Got to figure 54,000 different kinds of Christianity in the world right now. 54,000. And they're all based on the Catholic Church. So who set the high water mark? Think about it. Okay? Study this study over and think about it. This is the truth. We have been lied to, and this is the truth. Because Yahweh does not lie. Yehoshua does not lie. This is the word of Yahweh. It's not a lie. Alright, gang. That's all I've got for you tonight. These are things that we need to know. These are very, very important things for our salvation. Our salvation is not a guarantee. Yehoshua paved a road for us to seek our salvation. How do we do that? We study His Word. And we learn the truth. That's where we find salvation. Okay. That's all I got for you tonight, gang. Thanks for sticking with me and putting up with this. I can't look at it any differently now because I know the truth. I can't look at it any differently. Once you see and once you know, you can't unknow. Alright? Alright. Shabbat Shalom to all of you. Peace on Yahweh's high holy day, the Sabbath. May Yahweh be with each and every one of you. Have a good night. And Shalom.